Here is what we can do for you. And I don't know what else we can do, because right now it's very quiet, and I'm sure you're all suffering the same thing. Very quiet. But and I'm not sure who said this, whether it was Bruce or Dimitri, but now is the time. Now that it's quiet, now is the time to do the things that you didn't have time to do. And we're upgrading our website. We're looking at all of our product range. We're coming up with new pillars of revenue that we will instigate, and we can pilot them. We can prototype those products and those services until the business picks up again. So in a nutshell, and I'm not going to take any more time than that, in a nutshell, the point I suppose I'm trying to make is, are you panicking or are you leading? And a leader will lead by looking at the opportunities available. Not be opportunistic, but look at what opportunities are available under the current situation.
Thank you, Robert. Peter is out again. Therese, would you like to say something on the current situation, because you are in charge with Regional Development Australia? That's the massive hub with larger, smaller firms and including startups. You're like in the epicenter of large and small business, international trade, and all that. Could you update us on your vision, please?
Well, I suppose what we're trying to do is really give people some tools to manage the situation. So we're hoping on the 2nd of April to do something around getting the most of remote working and how to keep your teams operating and performing under those circumstances, especially if there's more firmer decisions by the government to basically shut down the place. But also we are making sure that our communication is continuing and that we're talking about things that could happen. So we've postponed a couple of events, but we've actually given them a new date. So we're not saying it's a write-off, we're kind of providing some hope. Now that new event may be done differently than what we were planning on doing, because I think things may change on how people may want to receive information in the future. At the moment, we're being bombarded with webinars because people still want to, especially around the virus itself and how to manage that. But at the same time, it's good because it broadens. You can listen to a lot of players and get an understanding of the themes that are coming through. And then I think you can actually make decisions around that. But I do think it's good to have an optimistic view of that it is something that will end, and I see there's opportunities that we may do business differently in the future, which may not be a bad thing. You know, it might be quite a good outcome for everybody and the environment, I would say, as well, because maybe we'll learn a little bit more about what we really need for our information and how we communicate with each other. So that's what we're heading at the moment. Oh, someone's gone. Oh.
No, almost back.
I'm back. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened.
Bruce, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, in my IT space, I won't talk about that much because it's not something that's really my focus and it hasn't really changed much. But certainly in the video world, we've actually had a number of opportunities open up for us because everyone's looking at other options rather than appearing in person. And when you're a musician or a comedian or a nightclub owner or whatever the case may be, you've suddenly just got all this this business shut on you straight away. So we're looking, we've already reached out to the arts industry, looking at ways to assist them. We're a little bit different. I mean, as you know, we've got this this system set up today, and there's so many different video conferencing platforms. I use Teams all the time. I use Skype and all those sorts of things. That's one thing. It's great for business. It's great for doing what we're doing today. And it's great for having one-on-one meetings or on multiple people meetings. But it's not going to work for if you're trying to do a performance, if you're a comedian or a musician or something like that. So that's where our area of focus is. We've got a small agile team. It's been built on purpose where we can go in. We don't have to go in and spend hours to set up before we film. In fact, we can, the portion actually takes as long as the setup now is doing the makeup on people. So we actually go in there and we can be ready to film in 20 minutes. So, and that was by design, and so we're going to continue to do that. We've also got a setup where it's a multi-camera, or it's actually virtual multi-camera. So if you've got, say, a band or something like that, and it's not just one camera focusing on the whole band, a static shot, we can actually switch shots as if we had 9 different cameras in the room. So we can continue to try and create that live atmosphere, that live performance, and then where we send that video, we can stream it to wherever people want to stream it to, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or maybe they just want to film it, look at it, edit it a little bit, and then put it up on whatever platform they want to put it up on. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Reaching out, had a lot of interest because all the arts industry is looking at options. Some of what we're going to propose to them may work, some of it won't work. But that's certainly the area we're looking at doing. As I said, we also have a team of presenters. So we've got presenters that we can choose depending on the client. That some presenters work better. There's female presenters, male presenters. We've got some, female, male presenters. So we can match them up with whoever we're interviewing when we are doing interviews. So we might do an interview, say, here's the musician that you're going to see tonight, and interview them, and then we'll go into and try and recreate that live atmosphere. How we do that, not sure yet. Whether they still perform in an empty room, don't know. Whether they perform in their own backyard, and I know musicians are already looking at doing that, having really very small concerts with 10 or 20 people in their backyard. Whether we go and film that's certainly an option. Or whether, and I overlook a park here in Neutral Bay and it's empty, and of course it's going to be empty for days, but we could actually go in the middle of that park, not interfere with anybody, and do a small production. So that's what we're looking at. I think it was, I don't know if it was Dimitri or Robert said, no time to panic. It's just time to look at opportunities of doing business differently. Therese, you mentioned that the environment's it's going to be better for the environment. Well, apparently the environment's already benefiting by it, especially in China. They've got some better air quality than they've had for many, many years. So yeah, some good's going to come out of it. Good, learn from the bad, and we're just adapting with what we're doing. So rather than going on the road, we're just going to try and work here in Sydney and help the less fortunate. That's our plan.
Peter, now you're back. Would you like to say a lot, actually? Introduce yourself and give us your vision on the future.
Am I really here?
Yes.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yes.
Unbelievable, but
Amazing. Well, I had the benefit of hearing everybody else, so it was great. Well, for those we haven't met, I'm Peter May. I'm the Executive Officer for the CBD Sydney Chamber. So our remit is talking and working with SMEs in and around the CBD. There's a lot of them, over 6,500. And it's been very interesting listening to what you have all been saying. Robert, I like exactly what you were talking about leading. And I think part of the message we're going to have to be working very hard at communicating to some of our members is the fact that they can't go down into the dumps. They've got to kind of come out and they've got to look at new ways, and we've got to be looking at helping them to lead in their particular professions and space. I'm very sorry I didn't get to hear what Therese had to say because I had no sound there, but one word came in and out which says UTS, and I thought that was interesting, and small business and regional, because I also have a relationship with UTS because I'm a casual tutor at UTS, and I'm always looking for ways to drag our students into SMEs in the city so that they can have the benefit of their experience, vice versa. Everybody was speaking about stuff. Bruce, I got snippets of what you were saying, and it sounds dynamic and it sounds exciting in terms of the streaming opportunities that you're offering for business. Les, we don't want to talk about share portfolios because they're all... I don't think we can afford to talk about them. And Omar, I didn't hear a word of what he said, but I speak to Omar often enough, so no doubt he'll tell me. But look, the environment that we're facing at the moment is frustrating, I guess, for all of us. I guess the other thing is that we're learning all the time. I think there's a huge amount of information overload and information deficit at the same time. It's the feedback I'm getting is it's great that federal government are coming out and state government are coming out and talking about depreciation, holidays, and this, that, and the other. But when it comes to local businesses, local small businesses, that's not helping them to pay the rent, or they don't understand it. They need somebody to disseminate it in a way that they can understand. I'm actually taking part in a webinar on Monday between various councils, local government councils around New South Wales, which is a cooperative discussion about how local councils can help local businesses. So that should be very interesting. I don't think that sort of conversation's ever been had before. So this situation is sparking conversations which are new and fresh, which is great. On the other hand, there are businesses I'm talking to who are doing just fine because they've got good products. They've got an online presence as well as an offline presence. I was speaking to one of them last night, and he said, business is great. So it's very differential. There's no consistent downward trend in enthusiasm. It just depends who you talk to. We live in an environment in the CBD where we also have a large proportion of professionals, professional services, lawyers, accountants, business consultants, those sorts of firms. I'm not really confident that I can comment on how they're feeling at the moment because the people I've been speaking to, first and foremost, are those people with a retail presence. But we're going to have to be very, very careful in terms of how we try and support them and draw in the sorts of folks that are around this table, the sort of skills and knowledge to be able to potentially offer some sort of support for them as well. So I think it's a plan and replan for us as far as our membership goes. I mean, interestingly enough, we've had a spark in interest in membership. What they say when times get tough, people are interested in how people can help you.
Yep.
But those, I have to say, a lot of those calls have been because they are throwing up their hand in the air and they're saying, what do I do? How can you help? So we want to turn that conversation around. Which is what we'll work at doing. So being part of this event this morning, which Dimitri's organised, is fantastic from my point of view because number one, it's introduced me to 1, 2, 3.
No, we did well to last that long with Peter.
That's okay. We'll when he's back, we'll ask him to finish what he started. That
Now,
was a great speech.
Who's in IT that can help Peter out?
But he's spot on.
Bianca.
Everything he said is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you plan any restructuring, any revisiting your concepts, your structures and systems?
I don't have a lot of systems, but there's 3 people working in my organisation, me, myself and I, but I collaborate with a lot of different people and I subcontract. I get offered seriously all the time, constantly, can you raise money, can you put this deal together, blah, blah, blah. But I am human and I'm old. So I do what I can, and I don't sleep much, but in the way of restructuring, I deal with a lot of other companies. There's always other people who can help out what I do because it's like a networking thing, but they're my network. You know, they're part of me. And when I go to them and say, look, I've got this deal, this is what it's going to pay us, I'm happy to split the difference with you, blah, blah, blah. So restructuring is not the right word. Look, I'm in the process right now of about to settle on a property in Gosford. Why Gosford? I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I didn't really go down to buy one. I just happened to go past. They looked really nice off the plan, and I bought one. Now, the reason I mention that is because with all this turmoil and all this, dread and gloom, I'm particularly worried that the valuation will come in a lot lower because I don't think there's people racing out there buying apartments in Gosford or anywhere for that matter. So it does affect many different ways. That's not a business way. That's a personal thing. But it's not just about business. I mean, it affects us all the time. I went to the supermarket yesterday, and I haven't been panic buying. I haven't bought any toilet paper for about 6 weeks because I had some. Now you can't buy any. So if anyone's got a spare roll, can you chuck it through the screen? What was interesting was that the Coles have got this thing that if you're over 65, and yes, Ruth, I know it's hard to believe, but I'm actually 72, just turned 72. That you could go in an hour before everybody else. And so I meandered down and actually was an hour late. So I got there when the end of the old person's hour was over. And I looked, but I walked up to the guy and said, oh, is it over? He said, how old are you? I told him. He said, do you want to see my license? He said, no, go through. So I went in, but when I looked to my left, I don't know if you know World Square very well, but there was a queue of normal people, that's those under 65, going right back as far as you can go down that aisle and around the corner, all to buy, I don't know what they're going to buy, because there wasn't much left in the supermarket to buy in the first place. So it's not just about our business, it's the whole shebang of things. And I think what I find really frustrating about this whole virus thing is that, and I'm not trying to downplay it in any way, shape or form, so let me get that disclaimer. I'm in the broking business, we're always doing disclaimers. Let me get that disclaimer out of the road straight away. But the fact is that if you're under 70, let's be more concerned, under 60, 99.9% of people survive. It's not the flu, but it's a bit like having a bad flu. The people that the most people that are dying are the older people, like me, who would probably potentially die of a really bad dose of the flu or pneumonia anyway. And this thing has been blown, and I know the difference is this is very contagious, but there's been less than 250,000 people worldwide that have got it out of 7 odd billion. There's been less than 10,000 people that have died. Very sad. I'm not downplaying it. What I'm saying is if the media hadn't made this mass hysteria, we wouldn't have people, fighting over bloody toilet paper. And what is a word that came up quite often at the start of all this was draconian. Look at the Chinese, they're draconian. They're blocking off whole cities. How dare they? And because I watch CNBC a lot because of my trading, etc., nearly every commentator on there kept using the word draconian because they were blocking off cities, isolating cities. Well, guess what? The rest of the world's now isolating whole bloody countries. If we had done that earlier, this wouldn't be anywhere near as dramatic as it is. Because in China, and I've got many good mates live in China. One contacted me and said hello yesterday. He lives up the north of China, where it's cold. I've been there 3 years in a row in January, February, not this year, obviously. And trust me, minus 25, minus 20 degrees. It's bloody cold from Beijing up, even a bit further down Beijing. And that's where this disease, this virus, should thrive because it's freezing. Well, guess what? He contacted me to say, mate, I'm back in the gym. All the restaurants are open and things are pretty much 90% back to normal. Starbucks has opened up 90% of all their restaurants. I've got some good mates who live in Shanghai. They said everything is pretty much back to normal. So my point is that the rest of the world, which kept canning China for doing what they're doing, they're now on if you're looking at a graph, if it was a stock that was going up and now it's actually flattened right out. And now we're doing, because we are so libertarian, we wouldn't dare isolate anything until it's absolutely, the last resort. So as I said, the thing that bugs me is that we canned them for what they were doing. It looks like what they were doing was right because they're basically pretty much over it. And now we're stuck with it. And they just showed a graph on TV where the Chinese were flatlining and the rest of the world was, I wish it was the share I was in, was going up, straight up. parabolically, as we say in the trading business. So in answer to your question, Dimitri, I can't really change because I work with other companies. So it's the other companies that change what they're doing, like not listing, etc., etc. So I think I've just got to ride it out and hope I don't run out of toilet paper.
Peter, we can now get back to you.
When it happened, I refused to go and buy some because I didn't want to be part of the panic.
Yeah.
Yep. Well done. Thank you.
Might be if it doesn't run out. Anyway, you've got some, Dimitri. I can come round to your joint. In fact, I've got some new friends now. Just keep a little bit of cold aside for me.
Maybe we should all sign in with a little toilet paper roll or something.
That would be wasting.
Now, Dimitri,
Peter.
Anyway,
can you hear me?
That's my bit.
Yes. Yeah. All good.
Yeah.
We could no longer.
I'm going to have. I apologise. I'm going to have to duck out because I have an 11 o'clock.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
But the sentence I wanted to finish before I was technologically cut off was to say that I think that I've learned a lot as a result of listening, and I'd like to do some more individual discussions with even the people we've had in our smaller planned event than we have, because I want to tap networks of people who can help the people that I'm dealing with. So I look forward to the opportunity to continue the conversation over whatever means or platform we go through. So but I wanted to thank Dimitri for putting this one together. It was, as Robert said at the beginning, it very much was a beta exercise, and I think we've learned a bit from it. But the most important thing is just to have had the opportunity to listen to what you folks are doing and are trying to do. And I think, collaboratively, it's all about collaboration. And if ever there was a time for collaboration, we're in it. So I'm going to duck out.
Can I ask you a question before you run off? Who's organising the council kind of discussion on Monday? Is it you guys, New South Wales Business, or?
It's being organised by a group called the Cities Leadership Institute. Catherine O'Regan is the executive director of that. Yeah, Catherine?
Yep.
So if you're interested in participating in it, I can shoot.
Yeah.
If you shoot me your details, I can shoot them on to Catherine, and she might be able to organise. I think it's about 10 a.m. I think it is on Monday.
All right.
So if Dimitri, if you could maybe shoot Therese I can give you my email address here if you like.
Yes,
or easier still, just go to the CBD Sydney Chamber website. It's there. And
can I have something? Just a second. I just sent you a link.
Yeah.
In the chat. If you click on that link, it will take you to that page, to the landing page for that particular event, where you can find all the details of all participants.
All right. Thank you.
Can you see that event, that page?
Yes, it doesn't have all the details of all the participants.
Yes, that's all what
but it will have.
Yeah, when they join, yes, definitely. But those ones who are in discussion now, Therese and Peter, definitely. You've got your own landing pages on our website, on the Business Alliance website, because you're both members. But please make sure that that's one of the things we actually decided to do. So all other upcoming events, they will all have list of all participants and links to their landing pages. But at least, like in Robert's case, company name and his name. But you can always get in touch with me, and I will forward you the details of the person you're looking for. So that's not a problem.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and I'm going to say goodbye. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
So thanks everyone for participating and being so positive. It's all good. It's the first time we've ever tried it. I can say, I was impressed with one of the phrases. We knew some things in our lives, but when it's highlighted, when something is highlighted by a really smart person, that makes it more sort of positive and puts it into a particular cell in our brain. So like Leon Megginson, he was the professor of some American university. He said, It's not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change. So that's exactly what we're talking about. So people who are panicking, people who are screaming on every corner how bad it is bad. No one is arguing. There is no value in screaming that it's bad. We know that. So, but the systems, new systems, how to deal with it, how to actually, instead of losing and even staying on the same level, how to actually benefit from it. Maybe it sounds a bit strange, but it's a different situation. So benefit from it, because if when it's all the same, it's happening. It turns into a routine, on a daily routine, and it stays flat. Today we've been shaken by a bad reason, but let's get something positive out of it. That means let's get smarter, let's become more adaptive. Even when we didn't have this opportunity to talk more frequently, now we don't need to drink coffee, we don't have meetings, we don't have to fly somewhere, we don't have concerts and pubs and restaurants. We don't have that all. So all that massive resource of all those people, let's turn it into a positive conversation about something with particular outcomes. And particular outcome supposed to be better business and better living for our families.
I don't
we
think
can
we're
all
all
drink
agreed.
coffee. We'll just drink it in our own little places.
That's right.
In front of the screens, yeah. Next week we've got Peter Strong. Like when I was talking to Les, yeah, when we spoke, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, the uniqueness of that situation, one of the advantages, if we can call that advantages, some people you see on the TV screen, but with our connections and with this new probably setup of the whole world, now I invited Peter Strong. Yes, they are our alliance partners, the Council of Small Business Organizations. But you saw him yesterday on the drum, or the day before yesterday. Next Friday, he will be here with us talking personally, answering questions and all that in a fairly small group of people. So, and we've got a list of interesting people. I'm talking to actually Angry Anderson today, asking him maybe we should do a gig with him for the broader audience of his fans, maybe several gigs, because we want to keep it small, not making it too big. So it's a lot of new opportunities with people which are hard to reach in a normal past life. So yeah, let's don't leave us. Please stick to our events in the future, and definitely talk to me about opportunities for your network members to participate. And if you have any interest in well-known people to invite, let's discuss that opportunity as well.
Can I just add, Dimitri? This has been.
Thanks, Dimitri. Thanks for organising this. I hope that you got what you need and get some bugs out of the system. But you've got enough. You've got an hour's worth of data now to go through and see where your issues lie.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, Bruce. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just going to say I've been invited to a number of your networking events, and I haven't been able to make it because simply I haven't been available. It's to travel and all that. However, I'm here today because can't hear me.
Language, mate. There's sign language.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
Maybe your Bluetooth headset ran out of battery.
Maybe.
Dimitri's fault.
No, I can hear you.
You can hear me, Dimitri?
Yes. Yeah, I can.
You can hear Bruce? You're the only one.
And I failed lip reading at high school.
I don't know. You can't hear me. Dimitri?
I can, but.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, Dimitri, at least you can hear me.
Can you put them on?
You have a psychic connection with Bruce. That's what it is, Dimitri.
Yeah, probably. No worries.
Can you hear me
But
now?
I'll say goodbye because I also have another meeting to go to. But it was a pleasure. Thank you all. It was wonderful meeting you all. If you want any information, just get in touch with Dimitri and he'll give you all my details.
Yes, definitely.
Thank
All
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks very
Bye.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elias, could you stay? Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Just a minute, I just got to put on my clock, charging clock. Yep, I'll just press the button, no problem.
Okay, thanks,
I'm
everyone.
not
See
about
you.
charging batteries, about charging money.
Bye.
Bye. Bye all. Gee, they
All
went
gone.
quick. It went quick.